Hello and welcome to the Caspule Cast Season 2020 on our first week of playoffs. I am your host, Destiny, with my co-host, Doorguard.
What's up?
And we have our special guest here, you know him, you love him, Coach of Rugrats, hater of Gotenks, Tosh.
Okay, hi everyone. I don't agree to that list. I
I feel
know
like you
that
got
you
called
gave
out
me.
there, Tosh. I feel like you got called out there.
Hey, that was last season. That was the old me. This year, nah, that's not correct.
Hey, you know we all just about to have a good time, so... But with that, shall we get moving on into this lovely week?
Everybody get out
Yeah.
your dunce hats.
Yeah. Everyone get out your dunce hats, because first we got the LVP with our three dunce hat McGee here, Raccoon. Some highlights about it, some people you didn't expect to be in there, like Bardock, Deborah, some really good times. Raccoon made it to have the third dunce hat, almost had the fourth, but when he faced Goldo wrung himself out. So, you guys got any highlights that you guys want to share?
Not in particular. Well, I guess I just thought that Cell Jr. would probably go further than what he did, and I'm very disappointed that Goldo run himself out. But
With an ult,
that's
by
pretty
the way.
much it. Yeah, I feel like if he ulted and hit with the ult instead of ringing himself out, he probably would have beat Raccoon, and Raccoon would have had 4 dunce caps this year. So
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, my only qualm with it is that map is just rough because of how that functions, you know? So it's just kind of like, for what's cool, there's cool parts to it, but there's also, it's just like, kind of lame at the same time that characters just ring themselves out all the time, it seems like.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is.
And so since you mentioned Cell Jr., just clicked in my mind that didn't he have the shortest match of the entire LVB?
yeah, probably about what, like 5 to 10 seconds or less. I don't know. Like I just know that whoever he fought, because honestly, it's what, been 2 weeks now.
I believe
I don't.
I believe he fought Deborah.
Okay, yeah. So then, I just know that he knocked Deborah down, easily got the ring out for him, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I thought he would just do even worse because it's Cell Jr. He's done better, but not too much.
Nothing really to beat around the bush with. Kind of said our opinions about it. LVP is the LVP. Shall we get moving on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we got our first match here. We have North Kai round 1 with hybrids having the quote-unquote home map, even though for some reason it was Budokai's. And then, yeah, it was hybrids versus Budokai. Budokai took this one. Kind of a little bit of a stomp, at least in the early part of the match. Murktau kind of took Kid and Teen Gohan before going down to Ultimate, if I remember correctly. But even then, it still ended that we got to see both of the last characters of both teams. And kind of a canonical thing. Android 18 took down Sword Trunks. Dor, what do you guys say about this match?
Really just have to give mad prompts to Murktau, honestly. I mean, that was really about it, right? Like, everybody else did fine, but Murktau just totally went off. As he's been doing recently, it seems like every time they're in trouble, he just kind of really starts hitting the way. So, not really much else I can say. He had another really good week, and on top of having a really good week, has just been showing off really well. So, I mean, hybrids obviously had some unluckiness. I don't think anybody expected Teen to struggle as much as he did. If we had stats, I'm pretty sure it would show that he just totally did like almost nothing, it seemed like.
Mm-hmm.
So, overall, it's an interesting match, but it shows it could really go either way, because if Murktau doesn't take out like 2 characters again, I mean, Hybrids almost dragged it back last time. They might be able to nearly do it again this time. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep. What about you, Tosh?
I'm in the same mindset. I am surprised at how crazy Mark Chow did. And I know we don't have the stats on the screen, but they were just done today. And I know Mark Chow did almost 90K. He hit 88,000 this week. I kind of expected Kid Gohan to kind of flop a bit because I know he hasn't been the best just in general. I think even last season he had his struggles, but this season it just seems like he did even a bit worse. Teen, I don't know. I don't know what you have to do with him, but it's great to see that at least on Hybrid side, is that I'm happy to see that Future Gohan, even though he went from Super Saiyan to base, he's still doing all he can, and he did a real good job. And even though Sword Trunks was kind of on a back end, only at a 1 bar deficit, he at least brought it down to their last character, and unfortunately he lost. But I feel like they can probably take it back in the next round, so we'll have to see.
Yep. Just kind of a little bit of unfortunate events for this match, but ain't neither team a team to scoff at. Something I did want to bring up is Rudikai put in Cyborg Tao, which hasn't really been in most of the season except for the last week in the first 5. So, what do you guys think about the rosters here for the 5?
I think both have come out with about as strong a roster as you can. I don't think either are coming out with by any way a subpar roster.
All right.
I mean,
Hard
honestly,
to say.
has out of curiosity, because either I just don't pay attention to Budokai matches that much, or I don't know how long he's been out. But has Nam really been really bad for them? Like that they put him on the FA bench?
Yeah, he's been struggling a good bit, you could say. He's definitely not been hitting his high marks that you'd expect him to be able to do.
Sounds about right.
Okay, well, they got everything working for them. Like we said, Mark Tao doing what he does, and then of course just everyone picking up their weight. On Hybrid side, yeah, they can't really do much because their free agent is General Blue. So
they just have what they have.
Yeah, basically. So
They've also been doing. You could also argue they've been doing a lot more build experimentation this season, trying to get unleash latent power to work on multiple characters. So they've been playing a little more flexible, per se.
Wasn't that mainly between Teen and Kid, and not their main 3?
Yeah, but still, I mean, there's also just been Future's been switching AIs a lot, so there's just been lots of subtleties that have been getting changed about.
Fair enough.
It's weird not to consider Teen the main 3 on Hybrids this season.
Well, Teen's always been one that's kind of been awkward for them because they pretty much always built him just to B2. So if he's not getting those B2s off, then it just feels bad. And I think that's what's really been the struggle this year, is that they've been trying to hope that he just goes out there and he spams his 2 bars, and he's done a little bit of it, but they have also just straight up totally not done anything.
Yeah.
Then I also know that with his ultimates, sometimes he doesn't set them up, he just throws them out, and they tend to miss a lot more too. So,
but with that, shall we get moving on?
Sure.
All
Worked
right.
for me.
Now we have the East Kai round 1, Namek on their home map versus Grand Tour GT, whatever you want to call them, and we have Namek taking home the victory. I think this was a good, more even of a match for this week. We have Namek kind of on the back foot for most of it because of people like PyCon, and then Nuova just bringing it back to even, with Nail and King actually pulling their weight and finishing off the match for them, or at least surviving long enough and just doing damage.
Yeah, I think big thing that should be pointed out is that King and Nail had a lot better weeks this week. It's not to say that they're bad, but they've definitely been having. It definitely feels like they've been struggling a lot more as of recent, especially near the end of the season. It seemed like they were just, especially Nail, and he may have not had like the best week ever, but he definitely seemed to show up and deal and do what he needed to do to get them the win.
Yep.
Oh, I do want to say for Nail, well, I guess this is kind of with PyCon. For some reason, PyCon was just a magnet to those BTs, though. He got hit with, what, 20k within, like, maybe about 10 seconds? Or even less than that? Like, Nail, I don't think Nail is always, like, known for setting up his B2s very well, but it was just something about that match where PyCon just comes in and he's just getting wrecked for just like that little bit of time. But that little bit of time, he got half his health gone. Overall, like you guys said, it was a great match. One of the closer ones this week. Which I think by the end of the match, I think it was only a 2-bar difference.
I think it was like maybe like a bar or a bar and a half of King plus like maybe a bar of someone else versus PyCon.
I know I recently, because I watched it a little bit earlier. I just remember at the end, neither of them had like people to tag to. It was, yeah, you were right. It is PyCon and King Piccolo. But yeah, it was probably about maybe a bar and a half or a 2-bar, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of the closer matches this week, and it's kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say weird, but it is something to see that King Piccolo working out so well. Also, what's this? Late Piccolo doing a lot of I think he only threw out 2 Hellzone grenades, but still, I feel like he's been throwing out his ultimate a lot more recently than he has in the past.
Actually, now that you mentioned it, I think this match he threw out a Hellzone while someone was in the air charging at him, and all the Hellzone balls just like went towards the person that was at him.
Yeah, that was against Omega. The first one missed, and then when Omega, you're right, when he was charging at him, he threw out another one. Yeah, they all tracked. But then we also saw on the other side is that Omega, when he transformed, or when Sins transformed into Omega, but I think he was in max power though, but he hit off a 12k Dragon Thunder.
Yeah,
just
if it hits, it's devastating. And then I think we also saw GT Goku Spirit Bomb, but it was super far, so it didn't hit.
Yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate. I felt like they're on the right track with GT Goku. I'm not sure how much of a improvement he has been as a recent. I know that like last season they had Super Saiyan 3, and now this year they're trying out base form, which does have a better ultimate, but I'm wondering.
It's a supernova sized ball ult, so he gets a lot out of it, and it does a lot for sure. I do know. I think they might be. I mean, based on the fact that they've started putting Dragon Spirit on him, they may be looking next year to try to like give him, maybe start him in a higher form so he can try to go Super Saiyan 4. Because for those that don't know, this last off season they disabled the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta transformation. So now, but he's still not allowed to start Super Saiyan 4, but he is allowed to transform up into it now. So that is definitely something on their radar potentially, is to try to get it to where they can do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Looking as with the loss of PyCon for the next season, that's definitely something they could try and do. They're also going to get Baby back next season, so who knows. GT is going to probably be different.
They're gonna have a lot of transformations.
Yeah, because
Basically.
They're gonna have Omega. They're gonna have
Super Saiyan 4 Goku.
Super Baby 2. They're gonna have Goku. I mean, Super
Yeah.
Saiyan 4 can't do anything, but he's basically done enough already.
Yeah.
But I know Zhao, and he may have changed his mind. I know when I one of the many times trying to get him to give me GT Goku or convince him to give me GT Goku back. I know he said that this next year they're looking at maybe trying out Super Saiyan 1, which has a super explosive wave ultimate, so that may fare better. And of course, it's closer to the Super Saiyan 4.
I mean, they're probably
to,
gonna
like,
try
if they
all the
want to.
forms.
Oh yeah.
I think now that they've kind of gotten Shin Shenron into a spot where they don't have to touch him like at all, they have nothing better to do than start messing with all their other characters to get them all functioning to highest kind of working. And that is kind of the character they need to get working, because they knew Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta can work. He just needs a little AI fixing up right now.
And
they also know
Mhm.
and they got
that
Sin working.
you know they know all their guys can work. They just need to get him fixed up a little bit.
Yeah, and they might have to do a little bit with Baby since he's coming back, since he might share a few bataras that the other ones like, but
We also use Dragon Spirit and other stuff. Like he
Mhm.
fit
Oh, yeah.
before.
yeah, like he fit.
And they had him working last season, so
But
yeah.
GT next season gonna have a lot of strong transformations on their side.
But yeah, no,
But in
I
terms
really
of the
I think
match today,
Yeah, in terms
Yeah,
of the match,
this
little
today,
was one of
today.
my. That was probably one of the favorite matches that I had that I watched this week was the GT versus Namek. So, but
yeah,
outside of my own.
yeah, congratulations to Namek for winning round 1. Let's see how you guys fare next week. But with that, shall we get moving on to next one?
yeah, for sure, it should
Yeah.
be good.
Speaking of Rugrats match, move on to West Kai round 1. Royals take the home, and Rugrats away, and they ended up winning. This was actually slightly a back and forth match for a bit. It was like first Videl was popping off, then Goten was popping off, then someone on Royals was popping off. But I don't think after Videl, I think, died and Goten came in, basically knocked out Maj and Vegeta, said like, no, you're not going to be a factor in this match. We know what you can do. Get out. I don't know if Royals necessarily had a full-on advantage over Rugrats after that point.
They do not, for the most part.
Because I believe Goten tagged, and then Trunks came in, and then Trunks just did his thing, did what Trunks is known for, and then Aurelie came in. I don't know if we saw Cyberman this week. Might have.
We did.
Okay. Yeah.
He came in. He did a little bit of damage.
Yeah, it started off a lot closer, but as the match went on, and as Tosh will probably put into more detail, it definitely kind of teetered into Rugrats' favor and basically stayed that way for the rest of the match. So, Royals put up a decent fight, but obviously just couldn't quite finish it out this time, and in the end, it came down to struggle a bit. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's still a lot up in the air, but yeah, Tosh, how did you feel about your own match here? Obviously, kind of going through the whole match.
I mean, I'm happy with the results. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to win by a large margin. I think we won with over 4 bars, but that was of course due to tags, which I don't think my team is really known for doing a bunch of tags. I think we did 4 this against Royals. But yeah, no, like just in terms of planning and everything like that, I wasn't expecting. I had a slight thought that Videl may start, but I was mainly focused on Metacooler. Videl is crazy, especially with her loops. When I talked to Dora and Destiny multiple times about this, it's just like whenever you face Videl, you just gotta hope that she either goes down real quick, or if she gets a chance, she will destroy you with her V2s.
Videl loops.
But yeah.
Videl
Oh
loops.
yeah. and it's disgusting at times. But Cell Jr., part of me, I can't really blame him. He only did like 12K this week. I can't really blame him for his performance too much going against Waddell, which is surprising to say. Well, you would think it would be surprising to say, but it's not. Goten did like 70 something K or whatever, but I was not expecting that huge lead that he gave us against Majin Vegeta, took out the rest of Waddell and everything. And then Kid Trunks, Fiora brought up a good point, is that for some reason ever since against our match against androids, Kid Trunks likes to just pop off against androids at low health. And I think he did the same to Metacooler this week and everything. The rest of the team just kind of picked up. Cybermen surprisingly doing well against a giant slug to an extent too. So I don't have, like, outside of that, it's just, it was a great match and everything like that. Wasn't expecting it. Hopefully we can keep it up next for this coming week. But yeah, GG's for the first round one to Royals and everything. So hope is maybe a closer match, but not too close of a match to where we lose. So
guessing you were not expecting to win here by such a large margin, Tosh?
Nope. Not at all.
Yeah, this is technically Royals' first time in this environment, to be fair. Let's not put too much flack down. They've never been to playoffs because they only started existing last year. So there's a lot of
they barely didn't make it
coming
last
along. Yeah. So still a lot going on that can change. I don't think anything can be counted out by any margin. So they're obviously going fives. They obviously made a decision not to go with Deborah. And of course, everybody knows the curse of Majin GG. And I know Tosha is probably one of the things when we get to predictions, you are going to be like, yeah, if he pops off, what do I do? Like, he is just such a hard character to deal with, especially when he gets going. So
I guess the other thing that, well, for them, like, kind of piggybacking off what you were saying, that this is their first time in this kind of environment. Yeah, 5v5s can literally change how the AI completely acts. So I guess, like, maybe my team, in a sense, like, we build for 5, not saying that they don't, but we build for 5, and I guess we already have an idea on how our characters will work in a 5v5 situation. So maybe that just gave us an edge in everything so far.
It's like they do have some veteran players, but as a full squad of 5, this is their first time doing it here in the 5s format. So they have a lot to work on and get down. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they adapt, because it's the teams that adapt, like you guys in Muscle did last season, that got all the way to the finals. So
because
as the newcomers, they have a little bit more to prove, and we'll see what they're able to do.
Because main season is a battlefield. Playoffs, it's like a war zone. But anyway,
You've been waiting for a reason to say that, haven't you?
Yes. Shall we get moving on?
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. We have South Kai round 1 here. Cold with the home, Derp taking away the round 1 victory. This was actually a lot closer in my eyes than I originally expected. Also with primarily players since Cole took away Cooler's limiter in the muscle match, I believe. It was one of the last 2 matches. We don't know how Final Form Cooler would do in here. And Derp just bring out basically what they were trying to do all season, their best lineup, best everything without boosts, and since you can't boost the playoffs. And honestly, this was an enjoyable match to watch. Cooler did things. I think the only matchup that went unexpectedly in my eyes was Dodoria versus Zarbon. Dodoria actually really took it to Zarbon, and he was not in max power most of the time, so he didn't even have the power body advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of like, this match was really back and forth, and I think didn't Derp like technically make a comeback this match because like they managed to bring it back kind of thing.
Uh,
It was
yeah,
like,
they did with Hercule, I believe, and Hercule actually did. Hercule, when he already had his damage, decided to do like maybe almost 2 extra bars while he was at like no health. With
yeah,
melee, by the way, only melee.
they had more than a few things, so they just kind of pulled it back. It seemed like. So they definitely had an interesting week, to say the least.
Definitely.
I'm actually wondering if Fiora kind of expected this because I think I want to say that he had said that like maybe he was expecting either to maybe not win. I'm not sure, but I know if he wasn't expecting to win or whatever, his team, this was one good of a surprise, and I wonder how much farther they can get. For me personally, I'm just excited to see Final Form Cooler. I'm not gonna lie. I just like that's one of my favorite forms. So like just seeing him in there and him and Mecha trying to play out the tag game almost went into their favor. On Derp's side, Salza just being the tank. I think Salza was there towards the end and ended up getting them the win there.
It was actually Supreme Kai to get them the win.
Oh, it was Supreme Kai. Okay.
But Salza,
So yeah.
Salza was more just the sponge.
Okay.
To take
Well,
out.
then even then, Supreme Kai did turn things around. So did like Salza. Herc doing what Herc does. I have mixed feelings about Herc, but he still did his damage and everything. Honestly, I think at a certain point of the match, when I think it was just Supreme Kai left, and it was Cooler and Mecha, I'm just like, I already like in my head, I'm like, okay, well, Cold, I think they're just going to go ahead and take round 1, and all of a sudden, Supreme Kai just comes in and turns it around completely. So it was a shock to me, to some extent. So, but it was a good match. It was a good match.
Yeah, I think this is just a fun matchup because just like the previous one, or just like I should say, Namek and GT, it was like it really came down to the last character, and really all the matches besides I think yours, Tosh, like came down to the last 2 at the very least. So it like really forced it to be close.
Yeah.
It was just somewhere obviously closer in health relation, and Derpat I think was one of the few that actually came back from a deficit this week, where like they actually were at the health like minus and actually managed to pull it back to win, which doesn't always happen. So
and if I remember, even with that health deficit, it was still within like a bar of health as the final stretch.
Yeah, it came into pretty close within a lot. So, and if you only have to get the 1 win to turn it into a third, having to go a 3rd game. So it's really up in the air per se for this next one, because if Cold gets that win, then can they handle? Because now you're building for two matches on a theoretical. Because if you lose, then you have to go to a 3rd, but you don't get any time. Like you're just going. So that's what's always so crazy. Is you got to be ready. You're building for 5, and now you're also building for 5 and potentially building for 2 matches, which is just like,
you gotta hope that the AI, if they fail in round 2, that they pick it up in round 3 or whatever. So
yeah, I never know how it's gonna go.
Because isn't the only thing that changes between round 2 and 3 is the map, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. That will be the only
Just
thing that
switches back.
changes.
But with that, shall we get moving on to the predictions?
Yeah, going on to predictions.
Yeah.
Probably have a lot more to talk about there because it was just 1 rounds. The matches, if you guys watch the videos this week, were very short. Just not a lot going on for reasons that make quite a lot of sense.
Well,
that's how it is.
As we just said, move on. And first up, we have North Kai with Budokai for the home technically, versus hybrids. That Budokai having the first map is like confusing me, man. But
Either have maps that they're mostly open, so it was deemed to have not changed the results.
yeah. But anyways, this is a potential. This is round 2 and potential 3. So, I say it's going to go at least to a third match. If I had to give it, I think hybrids would win the next one, and then Budokai would probably win the third one. So overall, give it to Budokai.
Kind of a ballsy prediction. I don't know, this one's extremely hard. Obviously, this is my division. I fought both these teams. I could very much see hybrids pulling a 2-0 comeback here. They were the only team in our division to actually beat us, and they beat us with only 2 characters. So I feel like there is a lot of scariness behind Budokai as well as hybrids, but I think hybrids has the means to take it out in these next 2 matches, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is what happens.
I do gotta agree. Because here's the thing, like with Budokai, with their team is more so. It seems like the majority of their characters are consistent and everything. With Murkow possibly just going off every now and then. But I do like slightly agree more with seeing hybrids maybe clutching it and bringing it back for the win. Only because I feel like what their issue was that they put in their weaker member first and everything, of course, just to get him out of the way. But then you had a character that has been kind of experimented on with their builds and everything. I feel like if they spread it out a little bit more evenly, maybe like start like Gohan, and then have like Future in the middle, and then Sword in the back, or however you want to do it, just split it up like that. They can probably not easily, but they can probably do a real number on Budokai and end up taking it that way. But yeah, I would probably have to give it to hybrids. But I want to say like my choice is probably more so like 51% hybrids, 49% Budokai. That I'm real like split.
Yeah, it's very close. I'm not saying like, I'm just going off how my teams did against them, and I think both teams are very scary. I only beat Budokai by half a bar, so they obviously are also a very strong team. It could very easily take this and just have it done. But like Tosh said, I think if hybrids planning comes out a little smoother this time, I think they could very easily pull through a win here, and there's basically nothing anybody could do about it because they just have very strong powers when they're able to get them going.
And I feel like just one other thing, like I guess if people are going by like how like each team did by them, I think hybrids was a team that actually gave me more of a run for my money, because Team Gohan came in last and did a number on whoever was last with Goten and everything, and almost brought it back within the bar within like a small amount of time. So it's possible. It's definitely possible. So I get what you mean. So yeah.
Alright. So leaning more towards hybrids. I say Budokai, but I mean it's playoffs building for 5, so it can go honestly either way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be something, that's for sure.
Moving on, we have Isekai GT versus Namek. Please don't mind that incorrect thing right there. I was partly asleep when I was making this.
This guy.
But yeah, so I think actually I'm going to have to give it to I'm going to have to give another 2 round 3 for this one, but I think I'm going to have to give it to GT this time.
I think Namek have it. It's just whether they do it in 1 match or 2. I think Namek, if they have their full 5 rolling, are one of the best full 5 teams. I think they just have shown that they are incredibly strong and hard to deal with as a full 5, and it's just they're absolutely terrifying in that sense. So it's hard to say what would be like the way to beat that kind of thing. Like I have no idea. They just seem absolutely terrifying to go up against. So if I had to put my bet money as I am, I would definitely say it's probably more likely that we're gonna see Namek win this. It's just I could definitely see GT pulling a game back for sure, but they are also very new to this playoffs, and Namek went the hard way last year and fought their way up a good bit, so it's just going to be interesting. Again, either team could very much take this, as with all the teams, to playoffs after all, but I think I'd be less surprised to see Namek go, because we've seen what late Piccolo can do. That dude even destroys the Tenkaichi challenge teams, which are supposed to be like, oh, these guys are super hard and almost unbeatable.
The
He
gauntlet
literally can
teams,
kill them all at their same time. Yeah, he can fight a whole gauntlet team on his own.
Didn't he almost beat, if I remember?
He almost beat both fusions on his own. Yes.
Yeah.
And those are true fusions, though.
True fusions, and one of them being the best fusion.
Yeah. So it's like Namek just has some power, and if King and Nail are doing their thing, like I just like, what do you do, right? Like it's just how do you compete against that?
We also have to take in perspective that they have to build for 2 matches in a row, potentially.
Yeah, like I said, they did that the hard way last year. This is the. Did GT make it in last year?
Yeah,
GT
did
was
make it in.
GT was the bye week.
They were out
last
after the
year.
first round.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So they only had the 1 round, and it didn't exactly go super great.
I don't remember who they fought.
It was because Muscle beat my team, and then they went to GT.
Okay. I want to say, I'm gonna have to say Namek. Maybe around 3 for that overall. I want to say, okay, I want GT, but based off of how we see everyone's character play out and everything, and who needs like more work and everything, a GT in terms of maybe hopefully PyCon actually not running into B2s and everything, and just if GT Goku works a little bit better. But with Namek, majority of their characters are already down pat, with the exception of maybe Nail at times, who's hit or miss. So I think Namek has a little bit more of their like themselves put together and everything in terms of their builds and such. And we've seen them already create really great beats. But
yeah, for sure. I would agree that I kind of want to see GT go further, see what they can bring. But in just terms of what we've seen, it just seems more likely to see Namek kind of pull out. So we'll just have to see.
You know, maybe if Omega, decides to go rescind Shinron going to Omega like in his yellow bar and tag more and everything, maybe we'll see a different that would be a sight to see him, maybe. But I don't know. That's just a want and a hope.
I want hope and a possibility. but you guys lean more towards hybrids for this one. Moving on, we're not.
I mean, Namek.
Okay, I'm confused, man. Like, I'm still half asleep.
It's all good. It's all good.
Moving on, we have Weskai with Rugrats and Royals. As we were saying Door was saying earlier, Royals is still a bit new to this whole 5 thing. Yeah, they have veterans, but as a whole, they're not used to it. So I say, if there is a team that can, I think for sure, other than maybe Northkai, take it to around 3, I'd say it could be Royals. They definitely have the characters 4 or 5 to work. It just, could it work? Maybe. So this one is a lot closer to me to have to try to think about. But I do think,
No.
Okay.
Not doing gold tanks, mainly because how it went in preseason and in our divisional this year. Which
I was just making sure because I could impact a decision.
Yeah.
Since you're bringing your full 5 and not having go tanks in, I think Rugrats will pull it out, but I will say I do think Royals will take the next match.
So you mean overall, or you mean just next match in terms?
I say Rugrats overall, Royals for the next one.
Oh, okay. Oh, round 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I guess. I mean, it's a hard one because I think both teams are looking pretty decent, and it really could go either way. Though I guess if I had to go in on one, I think because Rugrats are not going with Go Tanks, I'd have to put more for them. But I definitely think Royals are at least going to pull back 1 win. I just don't know if they'll have what it takes to do 2.
We did change a little bit.
Right, never mind. Rugrats lost.
The only thing that we changed was
You brought in Cell Jr., didn't you? God, fucking idiots. Always, every time.
listen, if I could, I would bring in 2 Cybermen.
No,
I can't.
they brought in Chaozu.
Oh gosh. No, never speak of his name. He will never be used. But
Not
the
by
only
you.
changes that we did this for this week was I was talking to Anthony or Brobot, and one thing that he did mention was that with Cell Jr. was that while he just didn't have key at the start, he had to charge up to it. While Vidal, where she came, I think she had RFS last week.
She has a 2-bar B2, so she only
Yeah, she
needs
also
to
has 2
start,
bars.
and she can immediately B2.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So I gave Cell Jr. RFS over quick fast attack. So that's one change right there. And with that quick fast attack, being taken off, Rayleigh now gets her quick fast attack back over massive throw because she didn't get any throws last week and everything. So, yeah, those are only 2 changes in terms of build.
Yeah,
And
you guys lost. Master Third kind of carries, honestly. So without it, there's no way you guys can win. It's just literally impossible.
Who knows? My team, I still gotta check with my team if they want to change things, but at least that's the current plan. And then we changed the order just a slight bit, but that's pretty much it. Only to kind of anticipate what they may do,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they may not want Kid. I was about to say Kid Goten going up against MV again. If whether they think it's a fluke or not, they probably don't. So I feel like my plan is to kind of even out how we did things, like our power more so throughout the whole lineup.
Like,
But
going
yeah.
on a personal, I'd rather Royals win just because it's their first time and I want to see how well they can do. Because get some
Fair
history
enough,
under their belt, see how they do, see how many rounds they can go into. And funny enough, I know you're not like 100% opposed to that because there's some testing you are excited for, albeit maybe not enough to want to throw or anything, but it would be cool to see some new stuff going on with Royals, albeit will be difficult, obviously.
Yeah, want to do testing and everything. We'll see. But I guess my vote, of course, my team, of course. Like, who would have thought Tosh picks Rugrats his own team? I want to say I would like to finish this like just straight up 2-0. That's it for us. But I can see Royals taking it up to a 3rd round. But yeah, my hope is that we still take it all. So, of course, going with my team.
So all of us kind of agree that we think Rugrats is going to win overall then?
Yep, but
Most likely.
Yeah.
Safest
Slightly,
bet.
Yeah, since Royals has not really been in a 5 setting.
if I wanted to throw, I would have done Gotenks possibly and brought in Chaozu.
And you never know. Sometimes Gotenks doesn't win. Sometimes he's the reason you fall. So.
Depends. Depends who I'm fighting.
But
Alright.
moving on, we have South Kai, and I was thinking about this one while we were talking about the West Sky ones, and it's still very hard for me to figure this out, especially with how close the round 1 match came down to. But if I have to say, I think Derp will pull ahead overall, but it will be very close for both rounds. I think Cold will take round 2, and it will be a very close one for round 3.
Yeah, could see that. I think it's a very difficult one, as we said. There's a lot of ways it could go.
I'm gonna have to get my vote to Cold. Just overall, I can see Cold maybe just taking it just in general. They just need to be wary of, I guess, more so the matchups, and now they know that. I am wondering what Fiora is going to do. Fiora and of course Dirt will do in terms of maybe I don't know how much of a difference the clashing made, because I know Zarbon had Dragon Power, while Derp just had 2 Power Rages on Herc and Supreme Kai. But outside of that, I think they just have more burst damage on Gold. I feel like just with their saviors, savior usages, and they're also their max power B1s, they can utilize those and just do what they always do. Yeah. It's probably a wrap. Who knows? Derp will pull up a fight though.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like Derp's more consistent, but Cold has higher power spikes. You know, like when you think of on Derp, who like really goes above 60k, it's really Herc
and Salza.
Sometimes Salza and sometimes Kibito, right? Like if Dodoria was having like a more average season, I could give it to Dodoria. But you know, Salza, because he's a tank, will just sometimes power his way into that, and you know, Kibito sometimes just when he transforms and gets going, he just gets going, and that's why they like him. And with having that transformation, he can do some damage, then transform and do even more. So it's a weird one because Cold, obviously, pretty much every character on that squad, like,
can pull their
is
60K.
about that same. Yeah, like they could, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see any of their characters doing well, because it makes like we've seen it this season. Every character on their team can indeed just go off. So it's funky. It's a real funky one. I'm gonna give it to Cold. I think because they have that kind of random power. Like 100% Freeze has been certainly following as of recent, but like he pops in, like what are you gonna do, right? Like
the potential is still there, especially if they go with the 100% longer way to 100% for 2. I don't know how good.
Yeah, if they go back to spiritual control, they certainly could try to go for that. They did have some decent results with it. They moved away from it, but they certainly could go back. So it's not like that's out. It's not gone. It's just been moved away against for a little bit. And you know, there's just other stuff. Again, we don't know the variability of having health regen on the health regen transformation could be absolutely massive on their guy.
Cooler.
Yeah. Mecha Frieza, obviously, very strong character. Who else has there been? Zarbon, new character. Nobody knew how to deal with him. Everybody thought he was just, when they caught base Broly, he's just going to be on the side, but then it showed that he has the highest like base damage throw in the game, I think, in terms of a normal, like a non-giant character. Yeah. So putting attack +2 master throw, it's just like 5 to 6k every time. It's ridiculous.
And then King Cold stepped up his game from last season.
Yeah, but King Cold's always been like a good character. He's never been like a bad one. He's just not always been as powerful as he has been. But I would say he's always been good.
I know last season we fought them in playoffs. I think King Cold was one of the main ones that gave Rugrats an issue when we had to buy. So
as attack +1, like serious EL has been super hard to deal with, like all the time. It's one of the things that's been rough with them, is because I think they want to put EL on like Frieza, but how do you do that when King Cold's so good, right?
Yeah.
Like
you kind of have to try to find that middle ground.
Now, just a random question, but do you? Well, not a random question, but do you think that it's a possibility that we may see Kui at all?
Mm,
Cause like compared to Kui's weeks that he's been in, compared to Dodoria's one performance, what is it in the round one? Do you think it's a possibility that we see him? Because that
I
can
think
also be
Kui
a factor.
could. It just depends, cause like
Doria brings stuff
if
like power body when he goes max power.
I think the issue right now is they're not confident on putting a different blue onto somebody like onto someone like Supreme Kai to give Kui the Pataras he wants, you know?
Or on
Because he's right now
on
kind of saddled
Vegito.
with Ki or defense, and I don't think Derp is comfortable with Ki on him, and we've seen that he just doesn't quite have the defense with defense
And
to defense obviously makes him really survivable, just like Dodoria, but he doesn't quite have the damage output. Like his B2s are really weak, and he has better Ki normally than Dodoria, but he has just a lot lower numbers. So
and then he
it's
normally
possible.
runs a Patara like attack +2 or attack 1, and Vegito and Supreme Kai are kind of on those right now.
Yeah.
I thought he usually ran defense +3 or something like that.
No, he has during the main season, but all of their testing was on attack plus, namely attack +2. Then they got Vegito, and that changed everything.
He was only he was only on defense 3 because he replaced the Doria in the main season for fuel.
Yeah. Because of who he replaced, he basically just inherited that build. So, but I think they gave him a different Patara over Savior, so that was like the only big difference. So he didn't have the ability to ult instantly on coming in.
Or the max power, or the max power body.
Yeah, well that's part of why they didn't even put Savior on him.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like Cold, at least overall in the votes, are looking like the ones people want to win. But hey, who knows? It is playoffs. But with that, we've come to the end of the Capsule Cast for this week. We have a link to the website, the Discord, and the Twitter in the description. And hey, you can come say hi. We don't bite. Come help us with builds, and come help us with some off-season events that might be coming up in the near future.
POP is making a return. There's other off-season events I'm pretty sure in the works just to try to spice things up.
Or
you can do some more Dragon Ball Fighter streams. There's all kinds of stuff. So feel free to join the Discord and keep up to date.
Or you can just hey, come watch the playoffs, watch the gauntlet, or help your favorite teams with some other things. But with that, I've been your host, Destiny.
I've been Doorguard.
And I'm Tosh.
And we will be seeing you next time.